Hi guys, welcome back to Supercar Driver Training Project Plaid. I'm Brad, and today we're going to be talking about our new brakes. So today we went down to Brands Hatch Indy circuit with Track Obsession to have a good test of these brakes, and we went down with a friend of the channel, Mike, Deviant Power Systems. I think you have seen him in previous episodes. Have a look for him. And we decided we would give the car a good testing with the new SDT ceramics package. So on this particular day, luckily it wasn't raining, which is good for the UK. Brands Hatch Indy is quite a small circuit. It's really designed for much lighter, smaller cars, as big, powerful, heavy cars like the Plaid aren't that great there. But what was interesting on the day is we had a bit of everything there. So we had old Jaguars, old Ferraris, we had a couple of new Lamborghini Huracans, there was a Ferrari there, BMW M4, I'm going to say M4, Alpina spec, or could it be an M3? Not sure, you can tell me in the comments below, I'm sure. We had all sorts there. We had full track cars on slicks with full roll cages. We had enthusiasts that were there just for a bit of a fun day to see what their car could do. There was M4s, M3s, there was really a bit of everything. And as you can probably see from the videos, that Project Plaid was a bit too quick for that track and that section of people. It's quite funny really, because before this video is going out, we've already posted this video or clips of this video to a few Facebook groups and a few other Instagram groups where you've got all the different cars. And it was quite funny to see the comments, everything from, oh, well, you know, what do you expect? You've got 1,000 horsepower. Oh my God, you're such a slow driver. Even in that car, doing 54, 55 seconds on a lap. That's terrible. That's so slow. How are you ever going to set a world record in that car? And I mean, what you need to understand is the car is currently in R&D, so research and development. We are still working on the car. The car's not finished yet. So the real essence of the day for us was to get there and test out the new SDT ceramic brakes, because this is a really hard test on that car. These brakes are brand new, they've been bed in, they've done 500 to 1,000 miles. They're ready to go on track, they're burnished, they're good. But this is a really hard test on this car because it's such a short track, and the cooling system that you've seen previously installed on episode 1 doesn't really get enough of a chance to get enough airflow in there to cool the discs and the brakes back down. We knew this was going to be a tough test on the car. And as you can probably see from clips playing in the background, we went past everything. There was nothing there on the day that could remotely keep up with Project Plaid at all. So I think, you know, there was maybe 150 cars there, and we probably did in 3 out sessions that were 8 minutes a time. I'm guesstimating maybe 100 overtakes. And that was really because we've got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S on the front and Pilot Sport 5S on the rear. We don't even have Cup 2 yet. We also haven't got the suspension set up yet and any negative camber on the front, so there was a bit of understeer, which is normal. That's the safest way to have a car set up from factory. We also didn't have the rear brake cooling kit set up yet because, unfortunately, Unplugged Performance doesn't provide one from the States, so we're getting our own one developed. So what we found in essence is that the carbon ceramics work like a dream. We were getting 1.5, 1.6 Gs of braking force coming back through the internal computer on the car showing, and the brakes were getting up to a good 800-900 degrees, and the discs were of course glowing red. What we did find is that with a standard car, per se, an ICE car like a Porsche or Ferrari, 1 cool down lap, maybe 2, is usually enough. But in Project Plaid, because of its weight, we really need to be doing at least 2 cool down laps, trying to keep the car between 30 and 50 miles an hour to cool those brakes down, because those brakes retain a lot of heat. And even when we got off the track, as you'll see in other clips now, the brakes were still registering 300 to 500 degrees, which is pretty damn hot, let's be straight, but obviously not hot enough to really create any massive problems. We were testing the pads and the brakes. So currently at SDT, we've got 3 sets of brake pads. We've got your standard street pads, your occasional track use pads, and then we've got the full-blown race pads, which are quite hard on the discs. So we went with the medium, we went with the part-time track pad. And what we found is, if you're on a short circuit like the Indy, you really want to go to the hardest pad for track only. This is because the car doesn't get enough time to cool those brakes down between the corners on the short track, and there's no real huge parts of the track where you're picking up enough speed to get that airflow in and over them to cool them back down. So what we did end up getting is a bit of brake pad transfer from the pads to the discs. Now, if you look at some of our shorts videos on YouTube, you'll see where I take the pads out of the car and I clean them up, which, you know, will shock some people, but it's quite normal in the motor industry to take pads out of the car, and after they've been glazed, when they've got very hot and that top layer of surface is, you know, glazed almost like a ceramic pot, you need to take that top layer surface off. So if you look at some of our shorts videos, you can actually see me doing that at home on my own driveway. But we found the brakes to be working really, really well, and it was a very, very fast car, and it was very evident very quickly that this car outclasses everything else on the track by a long shot. Now, we did some rough estimates, taking into account that we had Mike in the passenger seat with me the whole time, taking into account that we were running street tires, we were running track but not full race pads, we weren't running a full charge, we weren't charging it to 100%, only about 80%, and it was very cold on the day with a lot of traffic. Taking all that into consideration, we got an estimate out on the computer that the car would run a lap between 45 and 48 seconds on the Indy circuit. Now, I don't know if any of you have done this, but if you look up the track times for that circuit, official track times, racetrack times, open clear circuit, just to set a lap time, I think the fastest ever, tell me if I'm wrong, the fastest ever track recorded time there in a production vehicle is around 45 seconds. So we're already up there with the top 5-10 fastest cars or vehicles around that track ever, let alone just in the EV market. So when we're talking about next year going and setting these world records at all of the GP circuits around the world, it is a very attainable result. I mean, it's not going to be as hard as some people expect. Another comment we kept finding in Facebook and Instagram from people was, oh, well, you know, you probably did one lap and then you run out of battery, ha ha ha, and then it probably took you 2 hours to charge back up. Again, this isn't true. This is a misconception, and it's funny in a way because when you're at the track, you get pretty much all the drivers come up afterwards and just go, what is this? What is that? I mean, that's seriously quick. What is it? And they don't actually know what it is. And when you say it's a Tesla, they're like, it doesn't look like a Tesla. Granted, the Model S Plaid is quite rare, but they seem to not believe me. And they're like, have you put like an engine in it? What's it got? Like a V8, a V12? No, it's just the standard electric motors. And they're like, wow, that's crazy quick. And the fact that it kept going round and round and round for laps just proves the fact that actually you can get almost as much out of this vehicle on track as you can another car. So back to what I was saying before about the keyboard warrior saying, oh, you probably have to charge them. So different tracks have different chargers, of course. Brands Hatch isn't fabulous because it doesn't have any chargers right there on the track. But just under 10 minutes away at a hotel, there was a, correct me if I'm wrong, BP 50 kilowatt charger. So it wasn't the fastest in the world, but what we ended up doing a session of 8 to 10 minutes, letting the car cool down, driving around to the hotel, having a cup of coffee, sticking it on the charger. Half an hour on the charger, you're back at 80-90%, you're back to over 1,000 horsepower, back to testing again. What I would find in my Porsche, for example, my 911 Turbo S, is you'd only get about 10 to 15 minutes worth of laps before you were down on the red on the fuel line anyway and need to go and fill up. And okay, you go to a petrol station, which might only be a 5-minute drive away, and you fill up and that only takes 5 minutes. But sometimes after you've done a track session, you need to think about what's just happened, what cars are on the track, where you were having problems, maybe look at some of the footage. To spend an extra 15 minutes having a cup of coffee and to pay £6 to recharge the car instead of £80 to fill the tank back up, well, to me it makes sense. And when we're looking at doing the Nürburgring next year, in my Porsche, again, you can do 2 laps. You cannot do a full third lap because you run out of fuel. So the car's estimating that it will get 2 laps, and that's about it. So a little bit less than the Porsche in the fuel department, but not that much. And now at the Nürburgring, for example here, there's a supercharger on the track. So you could stop mid-lap and recharge your car back up fully, and then go out and do another lap. So really, now that we're getting into 2025, end of 2025, 2026, the chargers are popping up, and they are popping up at tracks. And I think people are starting to realize that, you know, EVs are actually quite good on track if they're set up correctly. So anyway, I've digressed. Going back to the beginning, the brakes. What we found is the brakes work great. They were pulling all the G's, they didn't fade, they didn't overheat, the brake fluid didn't boil, and they did a fantastic job. So what we also found is that, as I was saying, the pads, we're going to put the harder pads in going forward for track days, but obviously we're going to be going to larger tracks for R&D, so there'll be that airflow going through them, so they won't get quite as hot, so it's unlikely that pad transfer would happen again to that degree because that's such a short circuit. But anyway, I hope you've liked listening to me explain a little bit of what this R&D session was, training with the car, learning its downfalls, learning its strong points, and watching some of the videos in the background, going past cars on the track from the different angles. Let me know what you think. Drop us some comments below, drop us a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because we upload videos quite often at the moment while we're in this R&D section on the car, getting it ready for the world record attempts next year. We're looking for a new sponsor for the channel, so if you are looking to sponsor Project Plaid, get in contact, because we are looking for a new sponsor, as this is a very expensive hobby, to say the least. I don't know if anyone outside YouTube knows, but these episodes cost in the region of £5,000 to make in total, between equipment, film time, editing, advertising, and everything else that goes along with it. So these are quite expensive episodes, and this is quite an expensive series. So we are looking for partners and we are looking for sponsors. So if anyone's interested, do get in contact. If you like what we're doing, remember to have a look at our other videos. We've got lots of new upcoming videos with some sneak peeks into a electronic exhaust system. I know, who would have thought it? Going into Project Plaid. We've also got an upcoming video with an alignment setup for both street and track upcoming. Furthermore, we have got another episode upcoming with the interior being done with our partners UK Trim Limited. That's going to be an interesting episode. We're getting the new plaid seats installed on the car with active side bolsters and also a little bit of lowering so we sit nicely in the car for our track days. There's a lot upcoming, so keep watching and let us know what you'd like to see next. If anyone's interested in track days in the UK, we went with Track Obsession the other day, but there's also Open Track. There's quite a few different companies out there, but Track Obsession is who we went with the other day. Nice guys, very good prices. Their website you can be found in the link below, so get in contact with them if you'd like to book your car in for a track day. A big thank you to Mike for coming down as well and being a passenger on the day and being very helpful and giving guidance on what he's managed to achieve with his older Model S and what we're looking to achieve with the Plaid. And yeah, let me know what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, comments below, as I said, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.